What's up, YouTube? It's Chris with Chris's Comics with a review of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And of course, I got the AMC bucket. I haven't been able to, I haven't cracked it open for the batteries yet to turn on the lights, but I cannot wait. And yes, of course, I did get this. I have the other ones. I have the Love and Thunder Mjolnir one and the Battinson helmet, which I used for like Halloween candy over in October. I don't have them here with me, but I absolutely love this stuff. I love how AMC does this. So let's talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Right now it has about a 44% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's like somewhere in like the mid to high 80s as the audience rating. And I totally get that. It wasn't made for the critics. I feel like this was made for fans, especially getting the first look at King the Conqueror. I definitely don't think that this is a 44%. I mean, that just means that less than half the people that saw this for the critics didn't like it. And where like 80% of the fans who did see this did enjoy it. I definitely feel like this movie was a very solid movie and a very solid addition to the MCU. I wouldn't put it up there with some of the like staples of the MCU, but I would definitely put it up there with a very solid entry. I had seen some outlets saying that this was worse than Thor: Love and Thunder, and I couldn't disagree more. Thor: Love and Thunder is absolutely awful. I can barely watch it. I haven't watched it since I saw it in the theaters back in July. Maybe like one scene here or there, but I can't watch it. It was a comedy movie wrapped around superheroes, whereas Ant-Man and the Wasp was a superhero movie wrapped around a Star Wars movie with comedy. And I feel like Ant-Man and the Wasp and the Ant-Man movies have always focused on the story. They've been focusing on the family, the heist aspect, and the humor came after that. Paul Rudd obviously is very funny, and he definitely had good cues in there, but they didn't feel forced like they did in Thor: Love and Thunder. I would say, and I know this is giving away early, but I would say this movie was a solid B for me. There was definitely some things that I would change, and I'll get into that. But there were definitely some things that I did enjoy about this movie. I felt like this was an enjoyable popcorn movie. That's really how I walked out of this. Like, I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't like, oh my God, that was so amazing. It was just an enjoyable popcorn movie. One thing that I have seen, one thing that has been an issue with Marvel lately is the CGI and how like it looks very indifferent, how it's either unfinished or it just looks bad. I mean, a key thing is like Spider-Man No Way Home. The people that saw it on Thursday night saw different things than the people that saw it on like Saturday or Sunday because they had updated the CGI like literally after the movie had gone to theaters. So the CGI in this wasn't bad. I did see like there were a couple of moments where it was a little off, but comparing where this was like mostly CGI, especially where they were in the quantum realm, it did not look that bad. There were definitely some things I was missing here, some things I would have changed. I wish that we didn't jump right into the quantum realm. I enjoyed like the first 10 minutes of this movie, kind of going off of what Scott and Hope and the family have been up to since Endgame and since the last movie. And I enjoyed watching Scott like interact with the world, reading his book, Hope at the company. I would have loved to see more of them existing outside of the quantum realm before we entered into the quantum realm, or having more family moments. I was definitely missing the other like original cast, like Cassie's parents, Bobby Cannavale and Judy Greer. And I missed the ex-con gang. One thing that I really wish about this movie was that we saw Luis get pulled into the quantum realm and having him react to like all of these like quantum people, especially the broccoli guy, and like maybe at the end of the movie telling the other ex-con guys about the quantum realm and like explaining it, or even like, or maybe even like choosing to stay there. But I definitely felt those people were missing. They do have David Dashmalin, who plays Kurt in the first two movies, who is also known as Polka Dot Man from the Suicide Squad. He does play like this giant, this like gummy blob in the movie with the Resistance, and I think he is a very well introduced character. So yeah, I do wish that we didn't jump right into the quantum realm. And there were some times in the movie where I was like, there was a lot of like exposition and talking, just like talking. I'm like, okay, can we end this scene? I feel like we've talked about this thing for a little bit, and I think we can move on. There was definitely some cool moments, like the scene where he is getting the power core with all the different Ant-Mans, and the relationship that shows between both Scott and Cassie and Scott and Hope really drove home how I felt about this movie. Like, I really enjoyed that, and that's the thing that I really love about these Ant-Man movies. The relationships that they have between each other is fantastic. I do wish that the whole group could have stayed together throughout the entire course of the movie, because we've spent the first two movies really not, like, building that relationship up, and I wish that we didn't just split up. That was one of my issues with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They spent the whole first movie forming the Guardians, and then the second movie, they split up until the end. So I really wish they had spent more time focusing on keeping the crew together. Like, obviously it would be different story. Like, they would probably go to Krieger and then go to the Resistance at that point or something like that. But I understand what they did, why they did what they did. The cast was absolutely phenomenal. The returning cast, Paul Rudd still continues to prove that he is one of the best MCU castings. I love him as Ant-Man. Evangeline Lilly was great as the Wasp. Michael Douglas was still great. Some of the lines that he has, his delivery is awesome. I hope this isn't the last time we see him as Hank Pym. Michelle Pfeiffer, who finally got a chance to shine in the role of Janet Van Dyne, because we've only seen a little bit of her. I think that she was great in this, being able to finally, like, play this character. Another gripe that I do have about this movie, now that I talk about Janet, is we spent the last part of the movie of Ant-Man and the Wasp finding out that she has, like, absorbed quantum energy, and she was able to, like, heal ghosts with her hands. And I wish that they had explored that a little bit more in this movie, or talked about some, like, when she got back to the quantum realm, if she, like, was able to control things a little bit better and not just interact with the world. Catherine Newton coming in as Cassie Lang was great. I think her, like, she played the character as Cassie really well, being, like, for, like, trying to help people, and I think that was great. I think she played a really good character, and I hope she does return. The new characters that we see come in, Kang the Conqueror, I think Jonathan Majors absolutely killed it. I absolutely cannot wait to see what he brings to the table. He was definitely, the writing of Kang the Conqueror, I haven't personally read any of the Kang the Conqueror books, but he in this movie was definitely influenced by Emperor Palpatine, and there was a lot of Star Wars themes in this movie that it almost felt like I was watching a Star Wars movie for a little bit while watching Ant-Man. Like, I was watching Kang, and I could almost see the Emperor, and especially where there was a scene where Kang oversees his entire army, and it really reminded me of the ending scene of Attack of the Clones, where Palpatine is looking over the clone army. So he was definitely, that's how I really saw it. And we also have the return of Corey Stoll as Darren Cross, who has become MODOK. Now, I absolutely love MODOK. I love watching Scott and Hank and Hope, like, react to Darren and, like, what's happened to him. I do like how they kind of teased that in the Loki, I think the second to last episode of Loki. I think that was amazing. I think, like, he played MODOK really well. I've seen a lot of places say that he was misused. I wouldn't totally disagree with that. I just think that he could have been saved for something different. I know the leader is going to be the villain of the next Captain America movie, but I think that he could have played a very good villain in, like, a Captain America movie or something else, or even Thunderbolts. He could have played, like, an A villain with AIM instead of playing a B character with, like, along with Kang and being the bumbling sidekick to Kang. I don't think he was misused. I just think he could have used better. And of course, I am going to talk a little bit about spoilers. So if you don't want to watch the rest of this video and wait to watch the movie, go for it. Make sure to like and come back. But at the end of the movie, we do see Darren die, which his death, I wish it wasn't as prolonged as it was, and it wasn't as kind of cringy. Like, the whole, oh, you were always the brother. I always thought of you as a brother, and at least would have been okay with the at least I die in Avenger line, but the brother line, it didn't land for me. Like, I understand, like, what he was doing. Like, they were just trying to console him as he was dying, but it was just, I just wish he just said, hey, yeah, you know, I didn't want to be a dick anymore, and at least I died in Avenger. I think that would have hit a little bit better instead of, like, you're the brother I never had, and the awkward, like, face touch. But I wish that we did see some more MODOK in the future of the MCU. I think it really worked well, especially where like a lot of people were unsure of how MODOK would really work in the MCU or not work at all. So at the end of the movie, we do see the demise of Kang the Conqueror, but this isn't the Kang the Conqueror that we are going to be dealing with in the future of the MCU, because in the post-credit scenes, we see the Council of Kangs get together. Now, I haven't read the comics. I don't know exactly what these Kangs are. I think the Pharaoh one is a younger one who traveled back in time, and he became a Pharaoh and like showed the people of Egypt like the technology and was able to rise to power. And then there's the Shaman one, and then there's the Centurion one, I believe it is, that are like the main three. And then they have the entire council. Like there were so many cool ones. I remember seeing, I think the last shot is a Skrull one. And I think that, and the fact that they are aware that the MCU, that this Dimension 616 is aware of the Kang and is aware of the multiverse, and they are going to come out swinging. And we are also going to see a lot of multiverses and a lot of different characters interacting with Kang or someone that Kang throws at them to try to stop them. I think what's going to end up happening is, and I've seen this online a little bit, but what I think is going to end up happening is one of the Kang versions, who is going to be kind of like He Who Remains, is going to test them, is going to fill the role of the Beyonder. And I think Secret Wars comes out before Kang Dynasty. So I think what's going to happen is one of them is going to test all of the heroes of the Earth and have Secret Wars, and then fall into Kang Dynasty. Maybe the Council of Kangs kills this other Kang, and that's how we get into the Kang Dynasty. And I think that's also how we see what happens with Secret Wars. I'm very excited about that. And we also saw Loki and Mobius return in like an 1800s or early 1900s, and visiting Victor Timely, who's showing off technology and showing off like the future. And I am very excited for Loki season 2. So that's what I thought about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Like I said, it was a solid B for me. I think there were definitely things that I really liked about this movie, and there was definitely some things that I would have changed, but that didn't take away from my enjoyment. Let me know what you thought of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and thanks for watching.